Hello aspirants, looking at current affairs for 16th Jan. The news items picked up from the Hindu newspaper are these 10. We'll look at them in detail. The first one, 7 Pakistani soldiers killed in Indian retaliation. So this is regarding a ceasefire violation which took place along the LOC, line of control, in which both Indian and Pakistani side are claiming that soldiers have been killed. So in retaliation, so who initiated is not clear. Pakistan says it was unprovoked Indian firing, and India alleges that it was Pakistan army which is trying to push terrorists into India, and Indian army was teaching them a lesson. The next is Israel seeks big data from India. So as we know, Israeli Prime Minister Mr. Netanyahu is on a visit to India. So here many agreements were also signed, around 9 MOUs have been signed on various aspects. But apart from that, also there has been a proposal to access India's big data. So big data, as the term you should understand, is a huge amount of data which is collected because of modern technology, information technology. So this big data can be used for various purposes. We have seen it last year being used in the economic survey too. Like for example, with the number of tickets being booked on Indian railways, you can understand the trend in the Indian railway system. You can have various social indicators also through it. So this kind of information can come forth. So here this is like migration. So, migration, how is it taking place, from which state to which state is it taking place, that can be known through railway tickets booked. So here this is an example. Here big data is being proposed to be used by Israel to revolutionize Indian farm production. So in farming, we know Israel excels, and it has been cooperating with India for long. Even in drip irrigation, Israel is a leader. So here Israel proposed to track individual Indian farmers, and this big data can be used even to fight cyber crimes. So no elaboration as such has been given by India whether safeguards would be in place when Aadhaar related data of Indians would be shared with Israel. But this is a proposal under consideration. The next is AIIMS doctors challenge Nadda to open debate. So AIIMS Doctor Association has invited Union Health Minister JP Nadda to participate in an open debate on the proposed National Medical Commission Bill 2017. This has been in news for long. We have been going through it. The AIIMS doctors here say it is anti-poor, anti-people. So even it says that medical education would be put in the hands of the rich and powerful. So some of the provisions in this bill you should know. This National Medical Commission Bill basically proposes to replace the Apex Medical Education Regulator, Medical Council of India, MCI, with NMC, National Medical Commission. So this bill also brings changes in the nomination of members of NMC. So this, majority of the members here would be bureaucrats and politicians. So full control of corporate sector would be there to decide fees also of more than 60% of the seats. Also, national licensate exam is proposed. So in this exam, even parallel education streams for other medical streams like homeopathy, etc., can also give this licensate exam and practice as medical practitioners. So this is there. Also, they claim there is no provision for grievance redressal for students. Even Indian Medical Association had opposed this bill earlier. So it says it is allowing unscientific mixing of systems and empowering other practitioners. This is the bridge course which it proposes. So bridge course will facilitate their entry into the mainstream medical system. So here you can see the details provided on this bill. So common entrance exam would be there, in which all medical graduates will clear to get practice licenses. So all medical streams will be put on the same level, and a bridge course would be there, as we have seen. So NMC is a 20-member body comprising a chairperson and 8 ex-officio members too. Then fee guidelines will be there only for up to 40% of seats in private medical colleges. Means remaining 60% they can decide the fees. So that is there. That is why it is said that medical education would go in the hands of rich and powerful. So here this is a comparison also given of Medical Commission of India and National Medical Commission. Medical Council of India and National Medical Commission. Even for approvals, MCI gives approval on various aspects, establishment, renewal, recognition, increase in intake. But with NMC, which is proposed, only establishment and recognition will require permission. Automatically they can increase their seats also. And even if there are penalties, so the penalties means then there will be no renewal nod as such, which MCI follows, but NMC has monetary penalties. So this is how it is being proposed here. These are Indian Medical Association's apprehensions regarding National Medical Commission. It's said that this new bill will open doors for more corruption. And also at any given point of time, only 5 states will find representation in this commission. So state medical councils, which are sovereign bodies, will come under this medical commission. Also this cross-pathy practice and mixing systems, it says it will endanger lives of patients. So even screening tests from foreign medical graduates has been abolished. So they would also be easily able to practice in India. So this would also affect Indian doctors. Then next is Operation Digital Board in the offing. So Central Advisory Board of Education has passed a resolution that they would initiate Operation Digital Board on the lines of Operation Blackboard of 1987. So this is proposing to provide better digital education in all schools. So this will be with involvement of central government, state government, even CSIR and community support as such too. So emphasis would be on providing quality education, equity in education, even in digital education, accessibility, accountability and affordability. Then next is no clarity on probe into clinical trial violations. So 7 years after Indian Drug Regulator, Drug Controller General of India has initiated investigation in clinical research organizations' allegations. So these clinical trials which have been conducted, there have been allegations as such that people have been forced into joining these clinical trials. The data has not been shared by the regulator under RTI. It claims exemption citing section 88(1)(e) and H of RTI. Means this is exemption where a public authority cannot disclose information if such disclosure violates fiduciary relationship. Means Drug Controller General of India's relationship with clinical research organizations. If they have given you data which you are holding in trustworthy capacity as a trust, then you cannot disclose it to a third party. But then it is claimed by the petitioners who have, by the applicants, that this is not a fiduciary relationship. It is a regulator. A regulator's relationship with a company, it is regulating is not of trust. It is enforcing the law. And if there is any violation of the law, that information should be put forth in public domain. Also, this Ranbaxy cheating case is also very prominent. Even European drug regulators had also cancelled licenses for selling various drugs in European countries too. So these clinical research organizations, they have been alleged that they illegally detained several students and tested drugs on them. Even there is a case of GVK in which a 24-year-old man died while participating in a study on blood pressure drug philodipine. So it was alleged that this man was participating in several clinical research trials and this was risking his own health and the quality of data of these clinical trials too. So as we discussed, even European regulators like European Medicines Agency and other regulators have banned drugs approved based on data from these companies because these clinical trial data are said to be manipulated. So GVK Biosciences is one such. So when this data is manipulated, even others are Quest Life Sciences, etc., Alchem Laboratories. So data from these companies, if they are used for approval of drugs, then the drug as such approved has been banned. This is there. Even the Indian regulator DGCA has cancelled Quest license to conduct bioequivalence studies for 15 days. But even this is alleged as an inadequate punishment. The scale of misconduct which Quest has shown, and only cancelling license for 15 days is not an appropriate punishment for that. So fraudulent data, when it is used, it means that dangerous and ineffective drugs will become available to patients. So this has to be met with stringently. Punishment is there even under Indian Drugs and Cosmetics Act, which has to be put into effect. So this is the detail. So these are the companies which suffered because of these manipulated trial data. GVK Bio is a company that does these clinical trial tests for efficacy of drugs. And European Medicines Agency used these trial results as a basis to allow companies to sell drugs in their jurisdiction, and that is why they banned these drugs now, after it was realized that this was manipulated trial data. Then next is soon Aadhaar authentication through face recognition. So UIDAI, Unique Identification Authority of India, which is the apex body for Aadhaar, it has said that from 1st July onwards they will be using Aadhaar authentication using face recognition. So presently Aadhaar authentication is done either through fingerprints, iris or iris of the eye, or one-time password, OTP. But then it has been said now face recognition will also be used, but it will be used only in fusion mode, means not independently, with one of the other of these three. So people, it says, have facing difficulty with other biometric identification like fingerprint and iris. So face recognition can easily be used to authenticate. So fingerprints issues are there because fingerprints wear out due to old age. Also there are concerns. Even hard-working conditions, people working in hard-working conditions have trouble authenticating through fingerprints. So that's why now UIDAI says that by March 2018 we'll bring out the details to even provide software development kits to capture face images and check their liveness. So this encryption will also be done for this feature, face recognition. Then next is we won't return, says abducted Chibok girls. So this is actually about girls from Nigeria. In Chibok, the school girls here were kidnapped. There was a mass kidnapping around 4 years ago in 2014 by an Islamist militant group, Boko Haram. So Boko Haram, it considered Western education as haram, as against religion. So it had kidnapped these Chibok school girls, and some of them have been released too. There has been a global campaign for the release of these girls, and now a video has been shared by the Islamist group in which these girls, some of these girls are shown vowing that they would not return to their parents. They say that we are happy here, we have been provided for, and we don't wish to return. It is not clear whether these girls were under pressure or they were speaking of their own free will. Many of them said that they have been married off and they have been provided with everything. So this is there. The Boko Haram, you should know, this is an Islamist militant group which considers secular education as incorrect or against religion. This is Chibok, from where the girls were kidnapped in 2014. Many escaped. Many were also released in prisoner swap deals. So this is the West African nation here, Nigeria, where this Boko Haram militant group is prominent. Then next is bond loss provision. Banks seek time. So government bonds prices are presently decreasing and the yields are increasing. When prices of bonds decrease, their yields increase, and this results in loss to the owners of those holding these government bonds. So government bonds prices are decreasing because it is said that the government is going to breach the fiscal deficit target of 3.2% now. So that is why we are seeing when the yields are rising, mark-to-market losses for banks, which are a major holder of these government bonds, are also suffering. Already they have to do provisioning. So this provisioning has to be done at a higher rate. Even when they are referred to National Company Law Tribunal, cases are referred to them for resolution, of their. So high provisioning requirements are already there, and when these bond losses are also taking place, then it is resulting in huge pressure on the banks, especially in the public sector. So RBI has mandated 50% provisioning for all cases that are referred to NCLT. 50% provisioning means you have a non-performing asset. Then for that non-performing asset, you have to make 50% provision. Means you are expecting at least 50% of that money should be there. A provision should be made for it. So these banks, because they are under pressure, they are expecting and writing to RBI to allow them to spread provisioning requirement over 2 quarters. But RBI has also been adamant because even inflation rates are increasing. So it may touch the 6% mark too soon. So that is why RBI has also given its viewpoint. RBI Deputy Chairman has also stated that RBI would not be making any leeway. Banks have to take care of this. When government bonds prices increase, then banks make huge benefits or huge profits also. Presently, these are the losses which they are suffering from. So this you can see Bond yield is at 17-month high. This is there. So, as I discussed that, in October to December quarter, bonds fell. So prices of bonds fell as government reached fiscal deficit target. So yields increased and the losses for the banks increased. Here you can see banks had earlier approached the RBI seeking exemption from recognizing these mark-to-market losses on government bond portfolios in the December quarter. So you don't consider these losses on the bank's balance sheet, but then that is fudging. That is actually not disclosing the true health of banks. That is also not advisable. Then next is the last news item. December trade deficit widens to $14.9 billion. So goods trade deficit in December 2017 has widened, and this is because of imports increasing at a higher pace than exports. Gold imports increased at 71.52%. Even petroleum products, pearls, precious stones saw a drastic increase, while imports mainly is of oil. So oil prices have also increased drastically. So this has resulted in imports increasing at a higher pace. Exports as such increased only at a pace of 12.36%. So this has resulted in concerns being raised here. You can see exports are mainly of petroleum products. So petrol is imported, but then petroleum products, refined petroleum products are exported by the country too. Even engineering goods, chemicals, drugs, pharmaceuticals are exported from the country. Ready-made garments exports saw a contraction too. These showed increase at a lower pace, but ready-made garments showed a contraction, decrease in exports. So these are the concerns because of which the trade deficit has widened. Means imports are increasing at a higher pace than exports. So this December month trade deficit is shown here. You can see export growth and import growth is shown. In October month, you can see export growth was negative. Means it was at lower rate, then means there was decrease in export here. Otherwise, export is at a lower pace than imports. So these are the news items. Thank you.